And they made him a sympathetic anti-hero in this movie. Why? Yo, what's up guys? SonicHaXD here, and welcome to Resident Evil. Welcome to welcome to Raccoon City. Misery. That's all I feel right now. Misery. So the movie's plot is loosely based off of the first and second Resident Evil games. And it kind of is just like a amalgamation, like an evil experiment laboratory kind of a thing, mashed together. Create basically this Frankenstein monster. You know, there's a lot of things that was released in November. Encanto, Last Night in Soho, even Eternals. And I could have watched any of those. And y'all forced me to watch this. I know I'm the one who put the poll up, but you could have said no, okay? You all could have spared me from this fate. With that being said though, I do have some interesting facts as to why I even decided to check this movie out, not just because of the poll. For one, people don't really know this about me, but I'm actually quite a big Resident Evil fan. I didn't play every single one of the games, but I do know all like the stories of the main game from like 0 to all the way to 8 basically. And I really got into the series because of the 7th game. I think from that point on, Capcom is just putting banger after banger for Resident Evil games, all the way to Resident Evil 8. I think that's gonna win Best Game of the Year pretty much. Oh, mommy! So as a fanboy, there was like a teeny bit of hope that we could actually get like a decent Resident Evil movie. And the second reason is, not to sound like a stalker, but one of the people who worked on this movie was Greg Russo. Now, if you don't know who that is, then I recommend you checking out my MK 2021 Sucks video because I go over him a lot in that. But basically, he is one of the writers on Mortal Kombat 2021. I just have a very big soft spot for this person, and I'm really looking forward to seeing his other works and stuff like that. With that being said though, I actually found out that if you go online and check in like the IMDb's and stuff like that, he's not credited as someone who wrote this movie. And it turns out him and I think James Wan dropped out of the project around like 2017, probably to work on Mortal Kombat 2021. Everything that I'm about to like gush about in this movie, probably there's like barely anything related to Greg Russo himself. So please do not give him hate. It's not his fault. It'll be his fault when Death Note 2 comes out. So, which you guys cannot make me watch that, please. All right, let's actually get on to the freaking movie now. Let's actually talk about this film. It's not good. It's really not good. Oh my gosh. Where do I even start with this mess? In terms of everything that you grade a movie about, it's like all below average. The story, the sets, the acting, everything basically is just like a really below average kind of a feeling. In fact, it even kind of feels a bit low budgety, which I wouldn't be too shocked if that's the case. Honestly, I don't really know how to like structure this review. I'm just gonna try to ramble a bunch of stuff now that I just disliked. A lot of people said that the only hope this movie had was that at least it was gonna be like fan servicey. You know, it's not gonna be like the Paul Andersons. I don't wanna see your wife on screen all the time. I wanna see Resident Evil stuff, and now we're gonna get our chance. And no, just barely even feels like they scratched the surface of anything that happened in the games. It's like they had 2 games of story here that they could use, and they just grabbed a handful of each and just tossed it in. There you go, have fun. I hope you like the references and all the story beats that we did from both games. Which made me realize turning this series into a movie really doesn't seem that easy because of how much interesting lore there is in the world building, but at the same time, not too much happens in the story. Let me talk about some positives, I guess, about the movie. Let me talk about some things I actually liked, because there's like a little bit. When the action is happening, when there's some pew gun shooting zombie action, it's not too bad. That's when the movie gets more fun, in my opinion, especially when they're shooting zombies. And funny enough, it doesn't happen that often. The little bit we have of it, I appreciate it. But every time the movie actually feels like Resident Evil or does like a Resident Evil reference, I kind of like the guy eating the hamburger. It's like, oh my gosh, it's the hamburger. You got the sets that actually look pretty identical to the original games and stuff. And I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. That's about it. At least that's all I can think about that's not spoiling stuff. I feel like I can go on about things I hate about this movie, but let me just talk about the worst thing and why I think this is a pretty bad film. And it's the dialogue. It's half like they want to go with a more like realistic, oh, what would it be like in a zombie apocalypse kind of a feel. In a way, it's kind of like improvisation, but they just don't do a good job of that, and they come off with like some of the most, I feel like I'm watching like a child's play. I remember particularly this one scene where like when Chris Redfield was talking to Claire, like the first time they met in like a long time, and he just kept like repeating himself throughout that whole section. It was so bad, it was hilarious. Claire, what are you doing in my house? You lockpicked my door? Like, how dare you, Claire? I haven't seen you in like 5 years, and this is how you treat me? This is how you do— What are you doing in my house, Claire? How dare you? I need to go to work. I have no time for you to do this. You lockpicked my door? I haven't seen you in like 5 years, and you come back with this like conspiracy theory? Like, how dare you? What are you doing here, Claire? What are you doing? I haven't seen you in like 5 years. I have no time for this. I need to go to work. 5 years, Claire. What are you doing, It's really bad. It's really cringy. I'll talk more about this in my spoiler talk, but like it's hilarious how cringe it is. So one half of the dialogue is cringy, I feel like improvisation dialogue, and the other half is just swearing. They constantly swear to the point where I'm just like, stop. Honestly, I don't care if you're in a zombie apocalypse and all you can do with your character is swear, swear, swear. But it got to the point where it just got annoying. It just felt like, I know people say this all the time whenever they critique movies, but I'm gonna say it here too. It feels like an edgy teenager wrote the script for this with the amount of F and S bad words they use in this movie. It's so constant. I don't even think the movie was really that R-rated, but due to the amount of times they keep swearing in this movie, I guess that's how you can get the R rating or something. I don't know. Let me slightly talk about the characters. I did not like a single one of them. It's like they're trying their best to make them very, very unlikable or something like that, and like it worked. I didn't feel sympathy for any of the characters dying, I guess. But there are two characters especially that I actually just legitimately hated seeing them and hated how they're portrayed in this movie, and that's Leon and Wesker. I'll get into more about them in my spoiler talk, but I just hated it. I just hated how they portray these two characters. Okay, I'm gonna talk about spoilers. If you don't want to get spoiled, then skip to like around this time over here. But honestly, this movie is just, don't watch it, honestly. I just really don't recommend checking this movie out. So I wouldn't really mind getting spoiled about this one. 3, 2, 1, here we go. I'm gonna just go through everything I can think about. Let me start by talking about the scene that they were in the restaurant where Jill was talking with like Wesker. Because that scene is so bad, but it's so funny how bad it is, in my opinion. I think that was a scene that I legitimately laughed because of how funny it is. I think it was Wesker. He put like a ketchup on top of like Leon, and he bet like Jill, I bet you can't shoot that down. I bet you $10 you can't shoot that down. And Jill like pulls out a freaking gun out in the restaurant. He's about to shoot it down. I don't know why that was pretty funny, but then it gets worse. Like, here, I have a toy gun ready for you to use. Use this toy gun, Jill. I don't know why you prepared that, but okay. So then she's like, okay, I'll bet you $20 I can shoot it off without looking. And he's like, okay, free money, huh, Lamau? And then she holds the gun and then shoots Wesker in the head. And then she throws the toy gun towards like Leon. And then she's like, haha, pay out $20. That's... It's like, what the frick is that? Like, what the heck? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think she was looking when she threw it at Leon. So no, you don't get the $20, lady. But then she said something that immediately, like, made me so angry. She just took Wesker's sandwich and it's like, you snooze, you lose. It's a Jill sandwich now!
Hey, you snooze, you lose. What? It's Jill sandwich now.
Oh, that really pissed me off. That actually, like, brought me up to the edge. I was like, goodness gracious, they had to stuff that in somehow, didn't they? Ugh. Wow, this movie is so faithful to the original. Like, it even has the cringy dialogues from the original games. Wow, isn't it so faithful? What else? Oh yeah, let me talk about Leon. Let me talk about how much I hate this character. I kind of like Leon in the games. Leon in the first Resident Evil 2 game was he's just like a rookie cop, and he's just trying to like survive. And that's like the aspect that like you latch onto, you like about him. But for some reason, this movie, first off, can I just talk about the design of him? Like, I don't know why they decided to cast and make an actor who doesn't look anything like Leon play Leon. I think he would play a better Carlos. In fact, his hair fits more of that. They even say that in the movie. They're like, cut your hair, Leon. Shut up. Cast him as Carlos, idiot. But like, for some reason, the bright minds of the people who worked behind this movie thought, hey, why don't we just make Leon a complete loser? Yeah, let's make everybody around the police station constantly bully him and belittle him, and make Leon keep on fumbling around, acting like an idiot throughout the movie. Why? Why would you do that? Why would people want to see a buffoon when Leon wasn't really that big of a buffoon in the original? He was, yes, he's a rookie, but at least he was trying. In this movie, they really treat him like he's an idiot, honestly. Oh yeah, speaking of the whole like bad dialogue part, I love that one scene where he's like trying to stop the chief from leaving the police station. I think he repeated like what he said so many times during that scene. It's like, hey, sir, what am I supposed to do? Sir, hey, sir, hey, these are my lines, hey, sir, hey.
Sir, hey, sir, where are you going, sir? Hey, sir, so where are you going? Who's in charge now? Sir, I really don't think you should go.
But yeah, anyways, Leon sucks. I guess the first 30 minutes just really is a bore, and it really just sucks because the first 30 minutes is before Raccoon City gets infected and like what happens before all that and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't care, nor do they ever really establish this in the games and stuff like that. It's like in the games, it's just, oh, zombie apocalypse, let's go. But like for some reason, we needed 30 minutes of like prequel backstory for setting everything up. It's so boring. I really just thought that whole scene was just like obnoxiously boring. Oh, another scene that I laughed super hard at when I saw was when the city alarm starts going off. When they were in the police station, you see our beloved characters chatting, and then the chief walks in.
Okay, Chief, what's this all about?
Yeah, what's with the alarm?
Well, if you all shut the hell up for a second and listen, maybe you'll find out.
And everyone's quiet. Everyone's quiet for like 5 seconds, and the chief is like,
honestly, I don't know.
that delivery is so funny. If you are quiet, then we'll know why. Honestly, I have no idea. It's just like, what the frick? But yeah, that line delivery is so funny, the way how that was handled. Wesker, yeah, let's talk about some Weskery. Yeah, I don't know if people agree with me on this, but I personally find Wesker to be one of the best gaming villains out there. Like, people like don't like Resident Evil 5, but the reason why they can tolerate it and they still go back to it is for Wesker. Like, I genuinely feel like he's one of the most beloved villains out there. And they made him a sympathetic anti-hero in this movie. Why? Oh my gosh! Why did they decide to do that? It's so bad! It's like, what? Why? So the zombie outbreak happens. Okay, let me at least talk about a thing I liked about the movie, and it was the dog scene. So when the dog zombie was going to attack the chief, I was like, okay, that's semi-cool actually. The whole feeling like, oh, where is it? Where is the creature I'm trying to kill? Like, I kind of like that atmosphere scene, which I wish the movie had more of it, but instead it's just all padding and it's just all annoyance and it's just all bad dialogue. Well, that's when basically Claire, the chief, and Leon like get together at the police station. But let me go to the mansion now. Let me talk a little bit about that. In the mansion, I will say, when they go into the mansion, it's like, it looks just like Resident Evil 1. Hey, that's really cool. I like when the movie tries to be like Resident Evil 1 does references to Resident Evil 1 and 2. And when they go into the mansion, it feels very bare minimum in my opinion. You got zombies. I like the piano puzzle part. You got one cool like puzzle-ish kind of a scene, but that's really it. It's really lacking a lot of the interesting lore that's in the mansion and like the cool like stuff that you can find and stuff like that. It's just like a zombie horror house, which I will say this, I enjoyed the gun shooting zombie parts. That was fun, which sadly was one of the only times you see like people bringing out guns and shooting zombies in this movie. And if you want to talk about fan service, well, they certainly skimmed out on a lot of things in terms of the Resident Evil 1 plot. No Barry, no Rebecca, no Oswell, no Tyrant Program, no sharks, no big snake, no big spider. It just feels very hollow, that mansion. There's nothing interesting about it, which is one of the things that was great about the first Resident Evil game. And in terms of the Resident Evil 2 fan service stuff, no Ada, no Marvin, no Mr. X. And considering that Jill was with Chris when all the Resident Evil 2 stuff was happening, that means Resident Evil 3 cannot happen in this series anymore. So that means no Carlos, no Nikolai, no Nemesis. However, they did show Code Veronica for some reason. That kind of shocked me. I was like, what the creepy twins from Code Veronica, that video? Okay. I don't know why they decided to show that instead of everything else I just mentioned, but cool, I guess. However, there was, weirdly enough, they did show Lisa. I actually kind of appreciate the fact that they did show Lisa in this movie. She looked pretty good. She looked kind of like how she did in the game, so I did kind of enjoy that, despite the fact that her whole interesting lore stuff is all gone too, but at least she had an appearance, I guess is the word to use. And then that was also the same scene that we got to see like the liquor. The singular liquor, which was poorly CGI, but honestly, due to my monitor, due to the theater I watched at having very, very bad quality, I think the CGI wasn't that bad because, you know, my screen wasn't that great with it too. You know, the thing that we all love about Resident Evil is the fact that, you know, you have this like horror feeling of like so many zombies out there, so many enemies like all around you, and you have limited resources to be able to traverse and kill, and you have to find a way to survive. And in this movie, it's just a dozen zombies, a singular liquor, and a singular dog. It feels like easy mode, honestly. This movie feels like you have the HD cutscenes and emotional impacts and stuff like that, but the gameplay is toned down to like gaming journalist mode. One liquor! Oh, this is so easy, honestly. Oh yeah, let me talk about William. Oh my goodness, the William subplot. So, I kind of like the Annette and Sherry subplot in the Resident Evil 2 game. That just got completely shafted, and instead it turned into basically just, oh, William is an evil person, and Annette and Sherry are just like, who cares? Who cares, honestly? Holy crap. So let me just jump to like the final part, that whole scene. Wesker shoots William and Annette, and he's like, oh no, I'm an evil person, what have I done? I'm just like, it's just so stupid. And then Wesker gets shot by, who shot him? Claire? Joe? Somebody. He gets shot by somebody. And then it's like, oh, I gotta make it very sad. I'm sorry, I did it for... I forgot why he did it. I think he did it for like the money or something. And I hate this one line he says. He looks at the little girl, he looks at Sherry, and he's like, I would never have shot you. Don't worry, I was never gonna shoot you. And I was like, who cares? You shot the mother. You shot Annette. Who cares if you're gonna say... I don't even believe that you were not gonna shoot Sherry because you already shot the mom. MILFs? Ha! Screw that. But children, that's where I draw the line. He would have no problem shooting you. And that's despicable. That's actually despicable, my guys. So yeah, Wesker, pathetic. I absolutely hate him. But I really don't understand why they decided to make William like the big bad guy. Like, oh, I'm an evil scientist. I was gonna do experiments on Claire and stuff like that. Ooh. It's like, why did you add this? Why don't you just do the Annette and Sherry plotline? That's pretty good in my opinion. Why? And then our main group of friends all get onto like the train station and try to escape. Which, by the way, I think it's very funny that the Umbrella Corporation laboratory parts look so dang low budget. It looks so like small and cheap. Yet for some reason, like they can have like a giant underground like expensive train station for them to escape anytime they want. The contrast there feels pretty funny. And then we get a final fight between William and Leon has a rocket launcher and he says some kind of a stupid catchphrase. I don't know what, like, I don't know.
He needs some milk!
Or something. I don't know what he says. And that's the end of the movie. Like the end of the movie, there's like this report that says like, oh, no survivors from Raccoon City, and you see the 5 of them slowly walking out of the train station, and then the movie just ends. Like a big fuck you to the audience or something like that, in my opinion. Spoiler review done. Let me get to my final part of the review. The 3 emotions I felt when watching this were bored, cringe, and angry. And like a sprinkle of like things I like. The action and any part of it that felt like Resident Evil was what I liked about it, basically.
Hey everybody, for some reason my footage got cut off here, so let me just summarize what I said in the video. Basically, I asked the question whether this was worse than the Paul Anderson Resident Evil movies, and I wasn't too sure because I never watched the Paul Anderson movies. However, I do believe at least the first Paul Anderson Resident Evil movie is better than this. I heard that one's pretty decent. And then I say if you guys want to actually see like a good Resident Evil movie, then just watch the cutscenes of the first and second games. That's just a way better experience, especially the second game's remake cutscenes are actually really good. And then also I add the fact that right now there's the autumn Steam sale, so you can actually just get Resident Evil 1 for 75% off right now, and I just highly recommend that than wasting your time watching this movie. Or just watch an amazing speedrun of this game, which is where I left off right here.
Honestly, that was exactly what I did. After I watched this movie, I literally just typed Resident Evil 1 speedrun. Let me just look at this amazing game again. 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. I think it's more of a 2 out of 10 movie, but because of how much I'm pissed off about the fan service stuff, 1 out of 10. Blah! I hate this movie. Well, thank you all so much for making me suffer. I wanted to watch Eternals. I'm not kidding. I would rather watch anything else this month. But here we are. Here we are. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Resident Evil is a pretty great franchise, gaming-wise. Anything else is pretty hard to recommend. Thank you all so much for watching this rant of mine. For the 80% of you who voted yes for me to watch this movie, fuck you. And remember, you snooze, you lose. It's a Jill sandwich now. You know, honestly, I'd rather watch an hour and 30 minutes of this than Welcome to Raccoon City.